In today's video, we'll unravel the complex science behind depression, what it is, why it arises, and why it's so challenging to overcome. Ever wondered if that deep sadness you or someone you know experiences is actually depression? Why do some people seem to fall into depression more easily than others, and with such varied symptoms? Stick with us as we explore what really works in fighting depression and how to support someone dealing with it. Understanding the reality of depression, let's start by examining a hypothetical example of a 25-year-old man who once seemed to have it all. He had a stable job, a good relationship, and strong social connections. But over the past few months, everything began to feel dull and meaningless. He noticed his friends advancing in their careers while he felt stuck. Slowly, he withdrew from social activities, his energy waned, and he found it increasingly hard to focus at work. This growing disconnect with life wasn't just a phase. It wasn't simply feeling down, it was the onset of a depressive disorder. Depression is a mood disorder marked by a persistently low mood or a profound loss of interest in life's pleasures. To be diagnosed with clinical depression, or major depressive disorder, MDD, certain symptoms must persist for at least 2 weeks. But as his experience shows, these symptoms are more than fleeting feelings. They're deep-rooted changes that impact one's mind, body, and sense of self. Depression versus sadness. Sadness and depression are often confused. Sadness, a temporary reaction to life's challenges, is like a passing storm, gone within a few days. Depression, however, is more like a climate, a seemingly endless overcast sky. People experiencing depression find it hard to recall happy moments, and even good events often feel unworthy of celebration. Symptoms vary, from disrupted sleep patterns, unexplained guilt, and weight changes to agitation and, in severe cases, suicidal thoughts. The biological perspective. So, what causes depression? For years, scientists believed depression was a simple issue of neurotransmitter imbalance, with low levels of serotonin, dopamine, and norepinephrine thought to be the main culprits. These chemicals play crucial roles in regulating mood, motivation, and energy, so their shortage seemed an obvious cause of depressive symptoms. However, new studies have shown that the picture is more complex. Not everyone with depression has these neurotransmitter imbalances. So, is the chemical imbalance a cause, or just an effect of depression? Each brain is unique, and every case of depression manifests differently, influenced by a complex interaction of biology, environment, and personal experience. If you found this video helpful, don't forget to hit the subscribe button for more content like this. Share your thoughts in the comments. Have you or someone you know been impacted by depression? Your experiences and insights could help others feel less alone. Thanks for watching, and let's keep supporting each other. The psychological and human aspect. Depression might have roots that go beyond biology. Modern research suggests that it's often linked to how people cope with the pressures and expectations of life. This understanding reframes depression as not just a biological disorder, but also a psychological one, where personal thoughts and reactions trap a person in a cycle of negative emotions. Genetics play a role too. Those with a family history of depression are twice as likely to develop it. But even more crucially, chronic stress, such as financial strain, grief, or abuse, can act as a trigger. Without strong support and mental health care, these stresses can lead to what psychologists call rumination, a cycle of repetitive negative thinking. In this state, one's brain continuously revisits painful thoughts, reinforcing feelings of hopelessness. How chronic stress impacts the brain. Chronic stress releases cortisol, a hormone that's harmful to neurons over time. High cortisol levels affect the amygdala, the part of the brain that processes emotions like fear and anger, making it hyperactive. This change can cause a person to see even minor setbacks as major threats, locking them in a defensive state. Simultaneously, stress impacts the prefrontal cortex, the brain's control center for decision-making and rational thought. With the rational brain sidelined, it's harder for a person with depression to break free from negative thought patterns. This neurological explanation also helps us understand why depression and anxiety often co-occur, with nearly half of people with depression also experiencing anxiety disorders. The role of sleep and lifestyle in depression. Sleep is another vital factor. Studies show that adults who sleep 5 hours or less are at a 30–40% higher risk of depression than those who get 7 hours of sleep. When we're deprived of sleep, the brain's ability to regulate emotions weakens, making us more vulnerable to depressive episodes. In many countries, where people often work long hours for little pay and have limited downtime, chronic stress and lack of sleep may create a ripe environment for depression. The hypothetical character in the beginning of our video felt stagnation and pressure to keep up with friends, ultimately triggering his depressive symptoms, a scenario many can relate to. Treatment options: what science suggests works. If you're experiencing symptoms of depression, it's essential to understand that it's not something you have to face alone. Today, nearly 230 million people worldwide struggle with depression, and around 18 million people in the US are affected, representing more than twice the global average. And while depression doesn't have a cure in the traditional sense, treatments can effectively manage symptoms. One of the most effective treatments for depression is cognitive behavioral therapy, CBT, which works by changing harmful thought patterns and behaviors. Unlike some alternative therapies that lack scientific backing, CBT is supported by extensive research. A skilled therapist can help guide a person through mental exercises that build resilience, much like how regular physical exercise strengthens muscles. Medications, especially antidepressants, can also play a crucial role in treatment. For people with moderate to severe depression, these medications can be life-saving. However, studies indicate that combining therapy with lifestyle changes, such as regular exercise, often yields the best results. Exercise, even something as simple as a daily walk, can enhance mood and improve mental clarity by stimulating endorphins, the body's natural, feel-good chemicals. The power of social support. Perhaps one of the most overlooked aspects of depression treatment is the power of social support. For many, just knowing someone is there to listen can make a world of difference. This is where communities, families, and friends play a critical role. If you're experiencing symptoms of depression, don't hesitate to reach out. In the United States, the number 988 is the Suicide Prevention and Mental Health Crisis Hotline. It was created as an easier-to-remember alternative to the National Suicide Prevention Lifeline, which previously used a longer number. By dialing 988, anyone in crisis or in need of emotional support can be connected to a trained counselor who provides immediate help and support for crisis situations. This hotline is free, confidential, and available 24/7. Journey to recovery. With the right mix of therapy, support, and, when necessary, medication, recovery is possible. The character from the beginning of our video took this journey seriously, and after months of treatment, he noticed a shift. His days of profound sadness and hopelessness gradually became less intense and frequent, returning to the normal ups and downs we all experience. He learned to manage his thoughts, recognizing his strengths and building resilience against future challenges. Depression is a complex condition that affects millions worldwide, but it's not insurmountable. Modern science offers effective tools for managing and overcoming depressive symptoms. If you're going through it, remember, depression isn't a sign of weakness, but seeking help is a mark of courage. Depression can feel like an endless storm, but with support, treatment, and time, the clouds can part.